Hey, good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and I am going to talk this morning about clearing fear with love. So, invite you to chime in. Let me know if you're viewing, where you're viewing from, what kind of questions you have, and let's get started. So, good morning. I want to talk about clearing fear with love. We're in some very new circumstances in each of our countries across the planet. And as I work as an intuitive and spiritual consultant, I'm getting a lot of people calling and really affected by fear, which is understandable. But they think the fear means that they have the virus or that something is really wrong in their life. And they're so afraid they're paralyzed. And that's a normal feeling. So today I wanted to talk about how we can clear that fear with love and what that means. So again, good morning. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant, a past life regression specialist. It's my honor to be an Om Times influencer, to be associated with Om Times, Humanity Healing, and all the wonderful people that these great people have connected with over the years. So, let's talk about fear and why fear is an issue and what we can do about it, because that seems to be the prevalent theme with my clients lately. And certainly if you watch any of the news, it's everywhere. So let's talk about it. So when we're looking at the world around us, we're looking at being afraid, right? We're looking at a lot of clients saying, I am so afraid, I'm feeling ill, I'm so confused, I am so worried, I must have the virus. Well, that's fear talking. I'm not going to talk here today as a medical provider because I'm not one, but the first thing you need to do in any situation if you're ill, of course, is to seek medical help. But when you're feeling fearful, right, stop and think about what that means and how that affects you right now. Because fear is a normal reaction to change. Fear is a reaction to challenges. Fear is something that literally keeps us alive. It kept our ancestors alive. It helped them know what was sneaking up on them, right? Fear in our age right now, we've tended to. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for joining in. This is a slightly different setup here on Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out. So we're talking about fear, and fear isn't a bad thing. It keeps us alive in tough times, right? It keeps us moving. It's that fight or flight reflex, right? Hi, Shelley. Thanks for chiming in. So here's the thing about fear, though. Fear settles in and gets stuck in us, and it keeps us from moving forward, and it gets us worried about what's happening right here and now, and then we get stuck, right? And the stuck part is what I want to help you deal with today, because every single one of you is important in the world. We each have a job to do, a responsibility to do that job, and clearing fear, especially right now in this environment, will help you, will help your family, friends, your community, and help the world keep moving forward through this. So the problem with fear, right? Our intuition responds to it. It gets us moving when something is chasing us, right? The problem with fear is that it interrupts our connection, right? It interrupts our connection to ourselves as whole, complete beings, body, mind, and spirit, and to the community around us. And it interrupts a connection to love. So what I want to do today is give you some real tips on how to replace that fear with love, because fear, as you know, is debilitating. And right now we need to be at the top of our game wherever we are. So the first thing, when you're afraid of the virus, of being unemployed, of being able to put food on the table, of what your emotions are going to be like as you're stuck in turmoil, whatever, the first thing is to acknowledge that you are stronger than you know, that you are resilient. And resilience means that you can acknowledge how you feel. You can acknowledge that fear. You can acknowledge why you're fearful, but you roll through it. You kind of, roll with the punches, right? You say, yes, it's hard, but I'll get through it and I'll be okay. And that's optimistic, right? But it's also the human way, right? It's how we keep moving forward through all of the adversities that have affected us and our ancestors over the years, and that will continue to pop up as we move forward. Yes, Nathan, you're right. Fear is a motivator for acts of violence. But here in this community, we're talking about fear as helping us change that feeling to connection and to love. We can't control everyone, we can only control ourselves. And we can be an example of letting go of fear and so contributing to connection. So here's here's some tips. Okay, here's a way to acknowledge fear and to transform it into connection. And I do this exercise with my clients, and I'm offering it here to you free, so you can just practice it with me right now as we're talking, and see if this helps make a difference for you. I hope it does. So if you take a deep breath, right? Invite your spiritual team to join you, right? We all have a spiritual team, right? We all have those etheric guides that are trying to help us in our lives. The problem is we tend to forget about them and we don't call on them to support us, and they can't do anything until we ask. So invite your spiritual team to join you. Take a deep breath, and here we're going to do fear cleansing out, fear getting cleansed by love and connection, body, mind, and spirit, right? So, where does fear reside in your body currently, right? So, start at the top of your head and just imagine that you're running down your body from head to toe. And where does your intuition tell you fear is residing? Where do you feel that fear? And if this is hard, you're probably a person whose intuition runs towards knowing. So, where do you know fear is? Where do you feel it? Where is it talking to you from? Where are you seeing it in your body? This is using your intuition to point out fear, right? Just take a look at that, running head to toe and then moving back from your feet to the top of your head. Just where do you feel fear? Okay, so now that you have identified that, and I know in the last few weeks, my clients have felt it everywhere from the top of their heads, literally to their eyes, maybe watching news, their cheeks, their throat, really, your throat chakra, your power center, right? You're speaking truth, right? A lot of people feel fear there because we don't know what to say, right? Your heart, obviously, your solar plexus, right? Your root chakra, that survival, that place where we survive, that place where we worry about providing food for our families, right? So you identify that fear. And then you simply invite the fear to leave. Okay, I acknowledge that fear in my throat chakra, and now I invite it to leave. Okay, and so then what do? Then run an exercise that allows you to get grounded and balanced again. Because a lot of times, what I've noticed in the last few weeks with clients, and really well balanced people, that, I mean, everybody's been knocked off kilter by this, right? So they do know where fear resides, and they can get grounded and balanced. So as you sit in your chair or you're walking around, just stop, take a deep breath, and imagine that a healthy energy is moving down from the top of your head in a line down your face, your neck, your shoulders, chest, hips, knees, and feet. Healthy energy moving from the top of your head all the way down to your feet. And now imagine that energy line moving back from your feet, your knees, your hips, chest, shoulders, face, and the top of your head. And invite that energy line to clear out the fear, to clear out everything that's stuck, right? Practice this daily, but hopefully right now you'll start to feel where that fear was and that it's left, right? And that it's moving away, that you've acknowledged it and then you're done with it, right? So the next step then is to fill up that empty space with connection, right? So love, and connection. And love doesn't mean we're perfect, and love doesn't mean hearts and flowers. Love means that we're connected to all of life around us, to each other, that we acknowledge that we are fully capable beings, body, mind, and spirit, that we're constantly growing our souls, and we're constantly having that connection. So now, again, bring your team forward, invite you feeling that connection, feeling that love, and invite that to come in and fill up those empty spaces. And as you run that energy line from your head down your body, right, to your feet, and back up again from your feet all the way to the top of your head, right? Invite that love and connection. And so what you're doing is getting grounded and balanced, right? And replacing all of the things that are holding you back, that are keeping you stuck, which is largely fear these days, and replacing that with love and connection. You can do this exercise every day, at all times of the day, morning and night. I always recommend doing it first thing in the morning and last thing at night, right? Clearing yourself out, filling yourself up with love. Doing it during the day when you're doubting or worried or feeling disconnected. And, I'm willing to take questions here if you have questions. But brain, okay, someone's feeling brain. Good, good, good. Um, and, Shelley, that's awesome that you shared that, because really, we're all really thinking right now, like, oh my God, what is this? What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And, we've got this, people. We've got it. We are taking care of it, right? We are living a new world, and we are living together connected, right? So here's also a good energy tip, right? Crossing your hands on your heart and just breathing energy into your body. Now, we're all energy, right? And we are all intuitive. We are all energy healers. This technique was taught to me by a goddess, right? And literally, and I'm the biggest skeptic out there, so she had to kind of prove it to me. But cross your hands on your heart, breathe into the palms of your hands, and imagine healthy energy just going into the palms of your hands, right? And if you're feeling helpless, that you want to make a big contribution to the world, and you can't, you're staying at home like your governments have asked you to do, whatever, then offer that energy to the world. Let that energy go where it will. Because energy is sentient like we are, and it knows where it's needed, and it will go there. And then when you've done that, which is a tremendous contribution that we can all make, then cross your hands back on your heart again. Breathe in that healthy energy and invite it to help clear up fear, to feel your connection, to love, and fill yourself back up with love and connection. Does that help, Shelley? Yeah, yeah, right. And we are a lot in our heads, and we need to start feeling everywhere else. Because remember, body, mind, and spirit. We're not just the body worried about something. We're the mind, we're emotions, we're feelings, right? And we're also spirit. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I usually have my Crystal Fallon here to do an energy exercise. He's in the other room, but I do want to offer you some ideas on crystals. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining me. Oh, I'm glad you've done this, right? I've been sharing these tips over at the Humanity Healing page, and so I'm here now at the Om Times page. I'm so glad you appreciate it and this help. And it's very simple, right? And here's the thing. We're really busy all day long, and we think that being spiritual means that we have to spend all day on our knees or all day meditating. Yeah, this simple exercise will keep you going, will help clear anything out, will help fill you up with love and connection, and keep you moving forward, making your unique contribution to the world. Ah, Shelley, you heard that goddess bit. It's an interesting story. Years ago, she showed up here and she said, "Hi, I'm a god." I asked her who she was, and she said, "I'm a goddess." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. Sorry, honey, I don't believe in gods and goddesses." And she just looked at me and she said, "Nevertheless, I am a goddess." And she would not identify herself by name. I have since discovered who she is, very ancient, right? But she said to call her Connie. And ironically, here you go, Shelley. When I was a little girl, my dad gave my mom a statue of the Virgin Mary when I was born. I still have that statue tucked away in a box. And yesterday was the 25th anniversary of my mom's passing. In June, it'll be 26 years for my dad. So a long time, and a long time for that statue to be in a box. And when she said, I said, well, that's not really your name, Connie, is it? And she goes, but that's the name you called me when you were a child. And I always thought I was talking to the Virgin Mary when I was talking to that statue. And and she said this to me after I found, and so I'm kind of doing the story backwards. I pulled out a box of things looking for a particular thing. My hand fell on that statue, and as I held it up, I went, Connie. And it dawned on me. And then later she said to me, that's the name you called me since you were a child. So gods and goddesses are real. Ancient Celtic, Greek, Nordic. I know many people who work with all of the different gods, and through them I've met different ones. I literally had no idea that they were real. But the important thing is that we have connections out there. We have our own spiritual team, and we need to be calling on them right now because a lot of people are scared. And so when I remind my clients that, hey, you have a spiritual team, they're there to support you. If you ever needed one before, we all need one right now, right? Because there's so many conspiracy theories out there, so much this and that. And here's the truth, people. There's a virus out there that we haven't met before. It's insane. It's killing people, and it needs to stop. And filling ourselves up with love and connection is one way to bring that connection back into the world, to reorient ourselves, to rebalance the world with healthy love, right? So I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to add one more thing. I love crystals. I love how beautiful they are. I'm kind of a magpie, especially if they're kind of shiny, right? Um, so black crystals are really good for grounding and balancing. A lot of people like black tourmaline. I'm not a fan of black tourmaline because it doesn't work for me, but that's great because it works for a lot of other people. I like columbite. There's also obsidian or jet, which are very, very strong, but they're also plain quartz, clear quartz. Chrysocolla is one. It's a crystal that's good for balancing and grounding. So there are some great books out there on crystals. And if you're really feeling unbalanced, I recommend carrying one around in your pocket. I always recommend a pocket that zips up or putting them in a pouch because when I've taken my crystals places, they're very chatty and friendly, and they jump out of the pocket. And then I was like, where did you guys go kind of thing. So crystals, it's spring, enjoying nature around you. Keep sea salt around your house in little handfuls here and there around the house. That'll help keep that stuck energy moving out, and so keeps the energy flowing, right? So, yeah, so thank you for joining me today. I love crystals too. I love how beautiful they are. Next week, Fallon is going to be back here. He's amazing energy. And I know if you close your eyes for a moment, you can feel him because I get emails all the time from people that see him on my website. So I want to thank you for joining me. And I also want to ask you if you like these videos, if you'd like this Om Times page, Humanity Healing, the Om Times radio page. My own page is the Practical Intuitive, and you can find me there. Questions, intuitive and spiritual services, clearings, and just a whole bunch of things out there. Art, you can go to Om Times Magazine for some amazing, wonderful articles. But come back here next week. If you have questions or topics you'd like me to share, please put those on my Practical Intuitive page, Robin and Fritz. You can go to my website, learn more about my services at robinfritz.com. So try those techniques. Fear is normal, fear is natural. Understand what that fear is, because it may not be the virus that you're afraid of, it may be income, it may be whatever. Identify it, let it go, fill yourself up with healthy energy, keep that energy moving. You're going to be okay, right? Let me know how you're doing. Thank you for joining me. Take care and goodbye.